What's up, party people, and welcome to STONIECAST number 180 and season 6, episode 6 of Thoughts and Hunches, Making Money in Bunches and Sucker Punches. It's your boy Stony coming back at you for the 180th time, and I'd like to welcome all of my fellow shady characters, heathens, fugitives from justice, lowlifes, scumbags, criminals, hoodlums, altar boys with unhealthy relationships with their priests, scoundrels, hustlers, wise guys, foul-mouthed raging alcoholics, MLB players that have got into a fight with Bryce Harper. You know who you are, and thanks for watching. Cheats, fienders with abusive language, gangsters, degenerates. Let's face it, anybody with a massive gambling problem. If you're new to the show, hey, that means you probably fit into a few of those categories, so welcome, because you're one of us. One of us, gooba gobba, one of us. We accept it, one of us. Sorry, just know the reference. That's all I'm saying, right? Okay, make sure to hit the subscribe button right down here in the lower right-hand corner and ring that bell. That way you can get notified every time I put out a new video. To spread the word's very easy. Just tell other fienders, scumbags, and degenerates, just like you, Josh G, to go to YouTube and enter Thoughts and Hunches right in the search bar. That'll take you to my page, and you can get dialed into everything that I give you. Also, if you're new and you don't know what's what with this channel, it's pro football and college football winners, MLB playoff winners, and college basketball winners. The books don't expect a guy like me to deliver this many winners. They just don't. I'm an outlier, and I'm a disruptor. I'm like the Beastie Boys. I disrupt.
Step inside the party, disrupt the whole scene.
That's exactly what I do. I go to the mattresses and get the info for you every single week in order to get you to the window with a ticket to cash. Now, before I get to the picks, as usual, I have some thoughts.
Give me all you got. Vincent, give me all you got.
Tell him, Vincent. That's right. Last week, I regurgitated my take on coaches going for it on fourth down, and now I'll do the same on the AP polls, right? Two different people have asked me about it this week, and they just don't comprehend because their brains don't work. So for those of you that don't understand the polls, and there's plenty of you, especially those of you living in South Florida, let me explain it to you, right? The most useless number in all of sports is the preseason AP rankings. They mean absolutely nothing. Nobody's even played a game. Okay? Now, in all fairness, if there was a poll to be in the preseason, Ohio State should be number 1 to start the season. Notre Dame should be number 2 because they played each other in a national championship. Those are the only two that matter. Anybody else should not even matter. That's if you're going to do a preseason AP matter. Once they start, then you can start with the rankings. Case in point, Clemson was ranked number 4 in the preseason poll. They're now 1-3 and toast. Notre Dame was ranked 6th. And after losing their first 2 games, they were inexplicably still ranked before finally beating a really bad Purdue team last weekend. How are you ranked when you're 0-2? You should not be, under any circumstances, ever. Also in that preseason poll, Florida was 15th. Boise State was 25th. Well, after beating Boise State and Florida in their first 2 games, South Florida was somehow ranked. Now, all 3 are out already. Just like that. Boom. None of them. Right? LSU, the current number 4 team, beat Clemson to start the season and then beat Florida. All of a sudden, those wins don't look so good. Miami, the number 2 team right now, beat Notre Dame, South Florida, and Florida. Those wins don't look good either. The worst argument in sports is, but they were ranked when we beat them. It doesn't matter. It just doesn't hold water. The rankings only matter at the end of the season when the committee is putting together the playoff brackets. Teams move up and down, but wins over Florida, Boise State, Clemson, and South Florida won't mean shit at the end of the season because none of those teams are going to be ranked. At playoff time, you can look back and say, hey, we beat 5 ranked teams that are currently ranked. Or you can say, but they were ranked in week 1 when we beat them. No. That just doesn't work. Sorry, people. The polls only matter at the end of the season. Same with college basketball on Selection Sunday when 68 teams make the field. I don't care what they were ranked in October. I only care in March. Where are they now? Doesn't matter now, right? Okay, Canes fans, you get it now? Sorry, rant over. Now, as for the week that was, a 1-1 Thursday led to another 0-2 Friday, and I was on the ropes heading into Saturday. It's starting to become a theme, and that's not a good theme. But on Saturday, 3-1 in the first session, followed by 3-1-1 in the afternoon, had me looking good when the sun went down. A 3-4 night session did me no favors, nor did Cal, as a 13-point favorite getting shut out 34-0 on the late night. But I did hit Michigan State in the degenerate special to finish the day 10-7-1, which I'll gladly take, right? Every single day of the week, right? Good week and hitting the degenerate special, which if played right, doubled your money. Or if you were losing because you're tinkering and adding in-store live bets and this and that and ruining all your picks, right? The late night get right saves you from all that tinkering, okay? Now, as for the NFL, right, it was time to go large for the second straight week, and I did exactly that. 7-2 in the 1 p.m. starts and 4-0 in the afternoon before the Giants cost me on Sunday night. Left a bad taste in my mouth when I woke up Monday morning. But 11-3 on Sunday, it's safe to say that your boy Stoney is on an NFL heater, right? Monday night, the Lions delivered to get me to 12-4 in the NFL for the second straight week. 75% over 2 straight weeks? That's unheard of. 2 years ago when I had that crazy run, it still wasn't as good as this, right? Now let's take a peek at the numbers. Last week, 24 wins, 12 losses, 1 push. 66.67%. Doesn't get much better than that. Matter of fact, it doesn't. Because I challenge anybody to put their picks out, as many as I do, before the games start. And compare them to my 66.67%. Now, for the season, NCAA football, 47 wins, 35 losses, 2 pushes. 57.32%, moving up every week to the ultimate goal, which is 58. NFL, forget about it. 31 wins, 16 losses, 1 push, 65.96%. That's Hall of Fame level shit. All right? Degenerate special, 5-2 now on the season. 71.42%, hitting the late night get right hard. Thursday night, 44.44%, not so good. Sunday night, 1-2-1, 33.33%, not good. Monday night, got back to even, so I'm now 2-2 at 50%. So overall, all 5 episodes I put out this season, 78 wins, 51 pushes, 78 wins, 51 losses, 3 pushes. 60.46%. That's just massive. And massive numbers can mean only one thing.
Pay him. Pay that man his money.
That's right. Now, once again, I want you to remember that all of these picks are 100% free. For all the touts out there, they're charging you for their picks, Brett Musburger, and they're always giving you 75 to 80% winners guaranteed. Stop. We know you're full of shit. Plus, you're charging for these picks.
Oh!
I mean, come on. How does that happen? Right? With me, all you got to do is just come to YouTube every week, and I'm going to drop my plays on you for free. All right? Away we go to episode number 6.
Just win, baby.
That's right, Al. You tell them. Tomorrow, NFL Week 4 kicks off at 8:15 Eastern with a good one at State Farm Stadium in Glendale, where 2-1 Arizona is a 1-point home favorite over 2-1 Seattle, and the total's 43.5. The Cards have 2 wins over 2 really bad teams in New Orleans and Carolina before falling to San Francisco last week. Seattle started the season with a loss to San Fran, but they rebounded with wins over Pittsburgh and New Orleans. These are 2 quarterbacks that are underperforming so far, in Sam Darnold and Kyler Murray. They're both good, but neither one of them, Kyler Murray's better than Sam Darnold. I think we can all agree on that. But neither one of them is performing right now. Seattle runs it well with Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet. Arizona doesn't. And Arizona's defense, though, has been very good. And they completely shut down the 49ers rushing attack last week. I'm going to take the Cards at home because of that defense, right? And I'm going to lay the short number to start the week. Fridays haven't been very kind to me, like I said, but there's some good matchups this Friday. So let's hit NCAA Week 5 on Friday at 7 Eastern on ESPN at Scott Stadium in Charlottesville. 8th-ranked Florida State's a 7-point road chalk at 3-1 Virginia, and the total set at 57.5. The Noles followed up their season-opening win over Alabama by hanging 143 points on the board in 2 weeks with wins of 77-3 and 66-10 last week. Virginia's lone loss was 3 weeks ago at Raleigh, and they're coming off a blowout win over Stanford last week, and one of my many winners. That's right, Al. You tell him. You're welcome for that. Virginia quarterback Chandler Morris has been very effective, right? With the help of feature back Jamari Taylor, who continues to put up big numbers. But FSU's riding high right now with strong play from a revamped defense and Boston College transfer quarterback Tommy Castellanos, who has a bit of a knee issue, but he's going to go, and he's good. They're clearly the better team, but I have to wonder if the Noles are looking ahead to next week's showdown in Tallahassee versus second-ranked Miami. I think the Noles take it, but this is a very big number to lay on the road in conference. So I'll take the Cavs here at home, catching the touchdown, possibly through the back door. Another good one on Friday night goes at 9 Eastern on Big Fox at Mountain America Stadium in Tempe. 3-1 Arizona State's a 2.5-point home favorite over 24th-ranked TCU, and the total's 54.5. ASU has, their only loss was in Starkville 3 weeks ago, right, amongst all the cowbells. But they survived last week in a tough road win in Waco to get to 3-1. TCU took home the Iron Skillet in last week's win over SMU to get to 3-0 behind dark horse Heisman candidate quarterback Josh Hoover's 5 touchdowns. This is an excellent matchup between 2 tough quarterbacks in Hoover and ASU's Sam Levitt, and 2 dynamic wideouts in TCU's Eric McAllister and ASU's Jordan Tyson, both of whom are going to be playing on Sundays next year. That much, soon, whenever they not graduate, but whenever they leave early, because they both will. This is one of many games that could decide the Big 12's champion. And as much as I like ASU, I got to ride with a hot hand right now. And that hot hand has to be TCU on the road, catching 2.5 with a sprinkle on the money line.
Sprinkle me, my nickel.
That a boy 40. Shout out to my cousin Vinny. Right? Anytime you feel like it, just blurt it out. Just say it. The late game on Friday nights at 10:30 Eastern on ESPN at Research Stadium in Corvallis, where 3-0 Houston comes in as 12.5-point road favorites at 0-4 Oregon State, and the total's listed at 46.5. H-Town has 3 easy wins over Stephen F. Austin Rice in Colorado, while OSU hasn't won a game in almost a calendar year, with blowout losses this year to Fresno State, Texas Tech, and Oregon. The Beavers are a complete mess, and the Cougars are coming off a bye week, rested and healthy. Houston rolls here, minus 12.5. Another wild NCAA Saturday gets it going, noon Eastern, on ABC at Reynolds Razorback Stadium in Fayetteville. As 22nd-ranked Notre Dame is 6-point road favorite at 2-2 Arkansas, and the total 64.5. This is another reason why the ranking system is a mess. Notre Dame went in last week's blowout win over a shitty-ass Purdue, ranked at number 24, despite the fact they were 0-2. Completely ridiculous and unacceptable. Counting last season's national championship game, the Irish had lost 3 in a row before hanging 56 on Purdue. But Purdue's bad, right? And Arkansas has played really well in all 4 games, but somehow they're 2-2. I have major questions about the Irish defense. And I'm a big fan of Razorback quarterback Taylon Green, both his arms and his legs. Irish are going to probably get this one, but I think Arkansas can be dangerous. They can hang around and hang around.
Struggling.
Oh, hanging around. This is the one I meant to hit.
Hanging around. Kids got alligator blood.
That's right, Teddy. Hanging around. Arkansas has enough. So I like Arkansas here at home, catching 6. And a money line play might not be out of the question for really good value, but I haven't decided on that yet. I'll decide on that Saturday morning. But it's definitely marinating. Noon Eastern on Big Ten Network at Huntington Bank Stadium in Stoniapolis. 2-1 Minnesota's a 5.5-point home favorite over 3-1 Rutgers, and the total's 51.5. Neither team has a good win on their resume, and both are coming off bad losses. Rutgers blew a fourth quarter lead last week at home to Iowa, while Minnesota was beaten badly in Berkeley 2 weeks ago before getting last week off. This is the Ethan Kaliakmanis Bowl, as the senior quarterback spent a redshirt season and 2 more as Minnesota's quarterback before transferring to Rutgers after the 23 season. This is a perfect opportunity for him to stick it to his old school. Minnesota's the better team here, but they don't cover a lot of numbers as chalk. So I'm going to take Kaliakmanis and Rutgers +5 and a hook on the road. A good one in the Big Ten goes at noon Eastern on Big Fox at Gaius Memorial Stadium in Champaign as 21st ranked Southern Cal's a 7-point road favorite at number 23 Illinois, and the total's 59.5. SC is 4-0, right? But they haven't really been tested yet. And they failed to cover in their last 2 as favorites, including last week's degenerate special that your boy dropped on you.
Hoo-ah!
That's right, Al. Anytime. You're welcome. Illinois was 3-0 before absolutely getting curb stomped last week in Bloomington with the head-scratching stat of the year, maybe the decade. They were outgained on the ground 312-2. Yeah, you heard that right. That doesn't bode well for the Illini against USC, who has 3 dynamic backs and a dual-threat quarterback. I like Brett Bielema, and I hate Lincoln Riley. But I think Bielema makes the proper adjustments after last week's fiasco, and they're at home. Give me the home dog here, plus the touchdown. Noon Eastern on FS1 at Bill Snyder Family Stadium in the Little Apple of Manhattan. 1-3 Kansas State's a 5.5-point home favorite versus 3-0 Central Florida, and the total set at 49.5. K-State lost their opener in Ireland to Iowa State, beat North Dakota, then had back-to-back losses to Army and Arizona before getting last week off. UCF's 3-0, but they haven't been tested yet. They did deliver an easy win, though, last week for your boy in a blowout win over North Carolina and your boy Bill Belichick. You're welcome for that. Why are the Wildcats favored despite being 1-3? Well, that's simple. They're a better team who's been tested with 2 conference games already, while UCF has been busy beating junior colleges. KSU's the play here, especially in the Little Apple, -5 and a chunk. 12:45 Eastern on SEC Network, right up the road, 10 minutes from here at First Bank Stadium in Music City, USA. 18th ranked Vanderbilt's a 22.5-point home favorite versus 3-1 Utah State, and the total's 59.5. I'll be in attendance. I'll be out there, provided it doesn't rain like it did today. Definitely could. Vandy has one last non-conference tilt before SEC play gets crazy for them. Yeah, Vanderbilt's next 4 games after this week are at Alabama, at home against LSU and Missouri, and at Texas. Ouch. Yeah, they need this one, and they need this one to be easy. They do have 2 wins on the road already at South Carolina and Virginia Tech, while Utah State's only game that meant anything was a blowout loss at Texas A&M. Vandy quarterback Diego Pavia is operating right now at a different level, and I don't see the Aggies slowing him down. Anchored down, minus 22.5 with the Vandy. 3:30 Eastern on ESPN at Kyle Field in College Station. We get our first taste this week of Saturdays in the South with the 3 Fs: faith, family, and football. 9th-ranked Texas A&M 7-point home favorites versus 3-1 Auburn, and the total's 52.5. A&M took out Texas San Antonio, Utah State, and Notre Dame before getting last week off, while Auburn started 3-0 before losing a heartbreak in Norman last week. Marcel Reed is the catalyst for the Aggie offense, and he's been awesome. While Auburn gets it from dual-threat quarterback Jackson Arnold and dynamic back Jeremiah Cobb. A&M's the better team, but I was really impressed by Auburn's defense last week, despite losing to Oklahoma. I'm going to take the Tigers here on the road and the touchdown. A big-time marquee matchup in the SEC goes at 3:30 Eastern on ABC at the Grove in Oxford, where 13th-ranked Mississippi is a 2-point home favorite versus number 4 Louisiana State, and the total's 55.5. Ole Miss has 2 conference wins already over Kentucky and Arkansas, while LSU's only meaningful win was over Florida 2 weeks ago, and that doesn't look very good anymore because Florida's shit. No, I'm not counting their season-opening win over a really bad Clemson squad either that was ranked number 4 at the time, right? But they were number 4 when we beat them. Who gives a shit? Where are they now? Unranked and irrelevant. Once again, that just proves the most meaningless number in college football, right? The preseason AP ranking. Give me a joke. Give me a break. LSU quarterback Garrett Nussmeier, he's been very good, but a little unspectacular. The Bayou Bengals were expecting more from him, and he just hasn't been, he doesn't turn the ball over. He's smart, right? It's the Tiger defense that makes them go. Let's be real here. Ole Miss lost their quarterback, Austin Simmons, a few weeks ago, and Trinidad Chambliss has filled in and given the Rebels a shot in the arm. This fucking guy's been incredible. Now they're both healthy. Right? So who does Lane Kiffin go with? Well, he's been cagey about who's going to start and hadn't told anybody. They're both getting reps, and they're both dangerous in their own way. Either way, Ole Miss continues to cash tickets for your boy, so I'm going to keep riding the train. Hotty Toddy, -2. 3:30 Eastern on Peacock at Kinnick Stadium in Iowa State. 11th-ranked Indiana's a 7-point road favorite at 3-1 Iowa, and the total's listed at 48.5. Kinnick Stadium, Iowa City. Still one of the greatest traditions in college football. It's relatively new, but it's fantastic. Wave to the children at the Children's Hospital. Unbelievable. Iowa bounced back from their lone loss at Iowa State with wins over UMass and Rutgers last week, while Indiana has beaten the shit out of everyone so far this season, including last week's drubbing over Illinois. Head coach Kurt Cignetti, he's crafted a dynamic offense with quarterback Fernando Mendoza and superback Kalon Black. I wasn't sold on Indiana going into last week, and I slept on them. I slept on them all last year. I took them in the college playoff, and they burned me, right? And I haven't taken them yet this year, and they keep burning me, right? But I'm sold now, right? 15-2. Cignetti's 15-2 since taking over in Bloomington. 16-2 after this Saturday. Who's your daddy? -7. 3:30 Eastern on Big Fox at Milan Pusker Stadium in Morgantown. 3-1 Utah comes in as 10.5-point road favorites at 2-2 West Virginia, and the total's 49.5. After 3 blowout wins to start the season, Utah, they got beaten up pretty bad by Texas Tech last week in another one of your boys' many winners. That's right, Al. You just tell them. You're welcome for that, by the way, people. West Virginia They flip-flop wins and losses after losing in Lawrence last week. Before losing Lawrence last week. Utah's defense is tough, right? Though it did get torched last week by Tech. West Virginia's offense comes and goes, but they've been very good at home. Utah wins, but the Mountaineers get the cover at home plus 10.5. 3:30 Eastern on CBS at Husky Stadium in Seatown. Shout out Mix-a-Lot. Top-ranked Ohio State's 9-point road chalk at 3-0 Washington. And the total's 51.5. I mean, come on. After beating up then top-ranked Texas in the season opener, Ohio State's outscored their next two opponents 107-9. And they took last week off, while UW, they have easy wins over Colorado State, UC Davis, and Wazoo in last week's Apple Cup. Another one of my winners. That was a loser. I had Wazoo in that game. OSU is the most talented team in the country, right? And they're the defending national champs for a reason, right? While quarterback Julian Sayin continues to improve, and they've got the best player in the country in Jeremiah Smith. Washington can score, and they're really dangerous at home under head coach Jed Fish, having won 22 in a row. They ain't going to win this Saturday, but I think this one's going to be a lot closer than most expect. So I'm going to take the Huskies, catching 9 at home, but Ohio State to win. 4:15 Eastern on SEC Network at Davis Wade Stadium in Starkville. 15th ranked Tennessee's 7.5-point road favorites at 4-0 Mississippi State, and the total 62.5. It's just hard for me to say 4-0 Mississippi State. I just can't even believe I'm saying it. Tennessee bounced back from their heartbreaking loss to Georgia 2 weeks ago by taking it out on UAB last week. While Mississippi State's 4-0 with an impressive win over Arizona State 3 weeks ago as their only good win. UT's dangerous. Joey Aguilar's fit into head coach Josh Heupel's system very well. And yeah, the Bulldogs are undefeated, but they're going to get steamrolled here. I'm all over the Vols, minus 7.5 on the road. 7 Eastern on ESPN at Jack Trice Stadium in Ames. 14th ranked Iowa State, 6-point home favorite over 3-0 Arizona, and the total set at 49.5. There are literally 9 teams that think they can win the conference in the wild and crazy Big 12, and these are 2 more. ISU has good wins over Kansas State and Ireland and over Iowa in the Cy-Hawk Bowl, while Arizona took out Kansas State 2 weeks ago to get to 3-0. Both schools had last week off, and we got a good quarterback matchup here with Rocco Becht of the Cyclones and Noah Fifita for Arizona. The difference maker here is Zona's feature back, Javen Watley. This is going to be a very good one that's going to be decided by a field goal either way. With that being said, I'm on Zona plus 6. Another big-time SEC matchup. Come on. Doesn't get much better than this. 7:30 Eastern on ABC, Between the Hedges in Athens. 5th-ranked Georgia's a 3-point home favorite versus number 17 Alabama, and the total's 52.5. Georgia rolled over 2 cupcakes before getting a lot of breaks to beat Tennessee 2 weeks ago, while Alabama rebounded from their season-opening loss in Tallahassee with 2 straight blowouts, and both schools have had a week off to prepare for this one, which is kind of the norm. 2 unproven but very good at improving quarterbacks in Gunnar Stockton and Ty Simpson face off against 2 excellent defenses. It's rare to see the Tide as dogs, but they've been torn apart since that Florida State loss, and Georgia has had some issues. If you're going to give me the Tide and a field goal, I'm in. Give me the Tide with a sprinkle.
Sprinkle me, man. Sprinkle.
That a boy. Now we move on to the game of the week. What did I just say? Couldn't get any better than Alabama, Georgia. Well, it can. 7:30 Eastern on NBC at Beaver Stadium in Happy Valley. 3rd-ranked Penn State is a 3.5-point home favorite versus number 6 Oregon, and the total's 52.5. The famed whiteout will have Happy Valley on full tilt Saturday night in prime time. Penn State's 3-0 versus some really bad teams, and they get their first test of the season, not to mention their first Big Ten game. Oregon hasn't been tested either, but they've scheduled a lot tougher than PSU. Penn State quarterback Drew Aller is very good and efficient, while Oregon quarterback Dante Moore is turning into a Heisman dark horse. I've been saying for years, possibly unfairly, that James Franklin and Penn State beat everyone except for Michigan and Ohio State. But you might as well throw Oregon in there too, right? Penn State hasn't played anybody. They haven't beaten anybody, right? Their defense is legit, and I would take the Lions 9 times out of 10, but this is that 10th. Until PSU pulls it off, I gotta roll with the road dog here. I don't really have a choice. Quack, quack, plus 3.5 with a sprinkle.
Sprinkle me, man.
Attaboy 40. 7:45 Eastern on SEC Network at the Willie B in Columbia. 2-2 South Carolina's 6.5-point home favorite versus 2-1 Kentucky, and the totals listed at 46.5. USC's lost 2 straight to Vandy and Missouri, while Kentucky lost to Ole Miss 3 weeks ago, and last week off. They had last week off after an easy win over Eastern Michigan. Quarterback Lenora Sellers, he was banged up for South Carolina and still isn't completely healthy, but he played last week and is improving. I'm not sold on Kentucky at all and have no faith that they can go into the Willie B and get a win. So I'm rolling with the Gamecocks here, minus 6.5. Finally, this week's Degenerate special goes at 10:15 Eastern at Folsom Field in Boulder, where 25th ranked Brigham Young's a 6-point road chalk at 2-2 Colorado, and the total's 47.5. BYU's 3-0, but they have been tested, while Colorado has losses to Georgia Tech and Houston. BYU's true freshman quarterback, Bear Bachmeier, this kid is smart and he's playing really well, right? Well, Liberty transfer quarterback, Kadon Salter, never a fan. He's been inconsistent for Colorado. This is a big test for Bachmeier in primetime, in conference, on the road. But I have no faith in Colorado right now against anybody halfway decent. BYU to get us another win in the late night get right, minus 6 to close the night. NFL Week 4, Sunday, starts early this week, 9:30 Eastern on NFL Network at Croke Park in Dublin, Ireland. That's right. The first NFL regular season game ever in the Emerald Isle. Pitt's 2-1 Minnesota is 2.5-point favorites over 2-1 Pittsburgh, and the total's 41.5. The Vikings beat Chicago to start the season, then they lost to Atlanta before rebounding to beat Cincinnati last week. The Steelers beat the Jets, lost to Seattle, and beat the Patriots last week. Carson Wentz is now the Viking quarterback and played well last week, but a lot of it was a great defense and Jordan Mason's 116 yards rushing. The Steelers' defense finally stepped up last week, right? Because for 2 weeks, they were really struggling. Joe?
Struggling.
Was that you, Joe?
Struggling.
Thanks, Joe. I really needed that. Aaron Rodgers is hit or miss right now. And Carson Wentz has been hit or miss for 5 years. Right? It's going to be a low-scoring slugfest. And I like Minnie's defense a lot more right now. Give me the Vikes, lay the 2.5. 1 Eastern on CBS at Energy Stadium in H-Town. The worst matchup of the season so far takes place as the winless Texans are 7-point home favorites versus winless Tennessee, and the total's 39. Both teams have been terrible. Despite they've showed glimpses of good defense, both of them. But offensively, they're both just a mess. C.J. Stroud looks completely lost running Houston's offense, and top pick Cam Ward is a typical rookie who's getting crushed behind a shitty offensive line. If I have to take someone in this bad game, I'll take the touchdown with the Titans because Houston right now shouldn't be favored by 7 over anybody. The complete opposite takes place at 1 Eastern on Fox at the Sombrero in Tampa, where undefeated Philadelphia's 3.5-point road favorites at undefeated Tampa, and the total's 44. The defending Super Bowl champs beat Dallas and Kansas City before an unbelievable comeback victory last week when they were dead in the water to the Ram Chops after 3 quarters before getting a huge win and even bigger cover. Now, real quickly, I have to touch on that. That topic, bad beats, right? They even out. They really do. For every bad beat that I had on Saturday, I hit the Jets, the Eagles, and the Cardinals on Sunday, right? So they really do even out in the end. That's right, especially when you hit them. It's always a good thing. Where was I? Yes. Here's the problem, right? As great as Philly's comeback was, Tampa's pulled out 3 last drive wins over Atlanta, Houston, and the Jets. Baker Mayfield's Mr. Clutch right now. And he's got to be one of the favorites for MVP. Has to be one of them. Right? These are 2 playoff teams that are meeting in September. But I'm going to take Philly again until they buck me. Because what did Roy McAvoy say in Tin Cup? You either ride her till she bucks you or you don't ride at all. 1 Eastern on CBS at Snoopaville in New Jersey. The unbeaten Chargers are 6.5-point road chalk at the winless Giants, and the total's 44.5. San Diego's headed for the playoffs. Justin Herbert deservedly is getting a lot of praise, but it's Jim Harbaugh's running game and extremely disciplined defense that is winning games right now. The Giants are a mess. Defensively, they're okay, but not very good. And outside of rookie spark plugs Cam Scattaboo, the Giants are a complete disaster on offense. Do you think they wish they had Daniel Jones and Saquon Barkley right about now? Case in point, Sunday night's home loss to the Chiefs. 1st and goal at the 4. They ran 4 plays with Russell Wilson, throwing the ball out of the end zone on 3 of them. And catching an intentional grounding on one of them. Amidst the chorus of boos from the Jersey fans. Well, news broke yesterday. They don't have to boo him anymore. I mean, just give it time, Jackson Dart. You're going to get booed. But rookie Jackson Dart now takes over. The Giants' future quarterback, the future begins on Sunday. He gets his first start against arguably the best defense in football. He's going to be fine down the road, but not this week. San Diego's going to kick his ass. San Diego -6 and a hook. 1 Eastern on Fox at Shaving Cream Stadium in Foxborough. 1 and 2 New England is a 5.5-point home favorite versus 1 and 2 Carolina, and the total's 43.5. New England bookended losses to Pittsburgh and Las Vegas with a win over Miami sandwiched in between. Carolina lost to Jacksonville and Arizona before getting off the schneid with a convincing shutout of Atlanta on Sunday. New England's defense is very good against the run, but Carolina doesn't run the ball well. Both quarterbacks, Drake May and Bryce Young, like most quarterbacks, especially young ones, can be okay if given time. I like New England to win, but I like the Panthers, +5 and a chunk right here. 1 Eastern on Fox at Ford Field in the Motor City. The 2-1 Lions are 9-point home chalk versus 1 and 2 Cleveland, and the total's 44.5. Detroit stumbled out of the gate in a bad loss to Green Bay, where the Lions were just not prepared, but rebounded with wins over Chicago and a really impressive performance Monday night in Baltimore, winner. Cleveland lost to Cincinnati and Baltimore before knocking off Green Bay on Sunday, winner. I could do this all day. A lot of winners in the NFL. Cleveland's defense is legit. We know this. There's no doubt about that. But so is Detroit's offense. Let's not forget that. Plus, Detroit's at home. And this should be a double-digit number because everybody's high on Cleveland right now, despite the fact their offense is fucking pathetic. Detroit might win this game by 20, even on a short week. Give me the Lions. 1 Eastern on CBS at Highmark Stadium in Orchard Park. A true mismatch has unbeaten Buffalo as 16.5-point favorites over winless New Orleans, and the total is 47.5. I can go over numbers and tell you this. Spencer Rattler sucks. You know, he just does. He's bad, right? Kellen Moore looks lost. I hate laying big numbers like this, but I can't in good conscience take the Saints. Give me Buffalo, -16.5. 1 Eastern on CBS at the Benz in Hotlanta. 2-1 Washington's 2-point road chalk at the 1 and 2 Falcons, and the total's 45.5. The Redskins beat the Giants, lost to the Packers, and beat the Raiders, while Atlanta has losses to Tampa and Carolina last week, sandwiched around a win over Minnesota. I'm not sold on either team. And the fact that the Falcons were shut out by a really bad Carolina squad is bad on the eyes. And that's what we remember last, because that's when we saw them last. That's why the Skins are favored. Whether Jaden Daniels gets the snaps for the Skins or it's Marcus Mariota, I don't give a shit. I'm going to take the Falcons here, catching 2.5 with a sprinkle.
Sprinkle me, man.
That a kid. 4 Eastern at Stonewashed 501 Gene Stadium in the Silicon Valley. Unbeaten San Francisco's 3.5-point home favorite over 2-1 Jacksonville, and the total's listed at 47. The 49ers are inexplicably 3-0, but they're only plus 10 in those 3 wins. And it's all predicated by their defense, led by Robert Saleh's return as the DC. The problem is that all-world end Nick Bosa, he's now done for the year, now putting more pressure on the young front line and the even younger secondary. Brock Purdy's back at the helm this week now, and he's got Demarcus Robinson in the fold after he served his 3-game suspension. Jacksonville's got wins over Carolina and Houston last week. Nothing good there. With a loss to Cincinnati, also really bad. And realistically should be 3-0. And it's all based on an improved defense and the emergence of Travis Etienne, who's kind of taken off so far, right? He's had 3 really good games. The 49ers are extremely banged up, and even the return of Robinson and Purdy ain't going to help here. I'm on Jayville on the road catching 3 and a hook. 4 Eastern on Fox at SoFi Stadium in Inglewood. Always up to no good. The 2-1 Rams are 3.5-point home favorites over unbeaten Indianapolis, and the total's 49.5. The Ram Chops posted wins over Houston and Tennessee before getting 2 kicks blocked in last week's loss in Stoniecastas. The Colts are 3-0 behind the NFL MVP so far, Indiana Jones. Let's face it. He's been spectacular in wins over Miami, Denver, and Tennessee while averaging 34 points a game. He gets a lot of help from Jonathan Taylor, where the Rams' running game improved last week but has kind of been invisible so far. Rams could win by 2 touchdowns, but I don't see it. I'm on Indy here to keep it close and cover the 3 and a chunk on the road. Colts. 4:25 Eastern on CBS at the Death Star in America's Playground of Las Vegas. 1-2 Bears are 1-point road favorites at the 1-2 Raiders, and the total's 48. After losses to Minnesota and Detroit, Chicago got off the schneid last week with a win over Dallas, while the Raiders won their opener in Foxborough, but followed that up with losses to San Diego and Washington. The NFL did the Raiders dirty by having them play the late game in week 2 on Monday night, then travel all the way cross country to play an early game against Washington. Now they're back home, and the Bears are still the Bears. I just can't do it. I'm sorry, but I'm on the Raiders here, plus the point at home.
Big timer. 40. Sprinkle me, man.
Had a kid. I just don't trust Geno Smith, but I don't trust Caleb Williams either. Raiders with a sprinkle. 4:25 Eastern on CBS at Arrowhead Stadium, Kansas City. The 1-2 Ravens are 2.5-point road favorites at the 1-2 Chiefs, and the total's 48.5. The fact that these 2 juggernauts are 1-2 and the loser of this one is 1-3 is not surprising to me, except for maybe Baltimore. But the Ravens were outclassed on Monday night by Detroit, and the Chiefs struggled mightily, but they beat shitty-ass Giants for their first win on Sunday night. Baltimore can score. The Chiefs can't. I'm saying it right now that the Chiefs will not be in the playoffs this year, as they are the 3rd best team in their own division. This is not a good football team right now. They're a mess. Ravens minus 2.5, even on a short week, as the Chiefs drop to 1-3, sounding warning bells and alarms along Taylor Swift's backyard. After waiting all day for Sunday night at 8:15 Eastern on NBC at Jerry World in Arlington, the 2-1 Packers are 7-point road favorites at the 1-2 Cowboys, and the total set at 47.5. The Pack were looking like the class of the NFL after 2 impressive wins to start the season, but they laid an egg last week. They absolutely laid an egg against the pounding defense by Cleveland in another one of my many winners.
Hoorah!
That's right, Al. You tell him. Dallas's lone win was over the Giants a couple weeks ago, and they got losses to Philly and Chicago. Their defense is terrible. It's really bad, allowing 31 points per game, and a lot of it is because they traded Micah Parsons, who comes back on Sunday night. Yeah, he's back in the building Sunday night, and he's going to wreak havoc on Dallas. You don't think he's going to go off in Dallas, in Big D? He's going to. Dak Prescott is going to be running for his ass. Pack -7. To close out the week on Monday night, we get another two-pack of games. And the first one goes at 7:15 Eastern at Hard Rock Stadium in Bienvenidos a Miami in a really bad game. Two winless teams meet up with the Dolphins as 2.5-point home favorites over the Jets, and the total's 45. Two bad teams right here. And all the problems that they have offensively, tons. The root of both of their issues are on the other side, right? They're both allowing over 30 per so far. The Jets don't know if Justin Fields is ready yet, and I'd be more likely to take the Jets if Tyrod Taylor were starting, but I'm still going to take the Fins at home and lay the short 2.5. Just have to, because you got to take someone. Finally, to close out the week, 8:15 Eastern, on ABC at Mile High in Denver. The 1-2 Broncos are 7.5-point home chalk over the 2-1 Bengals, and the total's 44. Denver opened the season with a win over Tennessee, but they followed it up with losses to the Colts and Chargers, while the Bengals are without Joe Burrow and coming off a disastrous blowout in Stoniecast last week, right? This is a big number to lay for a Denver offense that hasn't looked very good so far. So I'm going to take the Bungles right here with Jake Browning at the helm on the road, catching 7.5. That's all 16 NFL plays to go along with 19 more college football matchups, giving me a total of 35 for the week. 21 would be just fine for me. Any more than that would definitely make a statement. Last week I was shooting for 20 and hit 24. Well, there's lots more action coming next week. So keep your eye out for STONIECAST 181, which will drop next Wednesday. So until then, just remember that if you want to win big, you got to bet big. You can't go broke taking a profit. Scared money don't make money. The less you bet, the more you lose when you win. Shout out to the Chris the Bear FALLICA. For me, the action is the juice. The difference between winning and making money is that anyone can win betting chalk, but you can't make money unless you take the dogs. There's money on the streets that can't be ignored. And finally, good luck to you. And yep, I still miss you, Gooch, my brother. And R.I.P. to Charlie Kirk.
Pay him. Pay that man his money.